army, obviously, because he won't have the food to be able to do it. So forced the TP there with some ensnares, and the Night Elf got in a very kind of tight situation right there. 2 level 3 heroes for the Orc players is kind of what you want to see want to have happen. Taking a look at items on that Tauren Chieftain, we got a potion of healing, potion of mana, a potion of blessing availability. He's really stacking up his Tauren Chieftain. On the Blade Master, however, he's just still got his boots of speed. And I believe he does end up, if it's not this game he sells, it's definitely the next one. So sorry if I'm being a little bit there, but he does have that Perfect Vitality, which is a pretty nice item to have on your Blade Master. He tends to, being an agility hero, he doesn't have tons and tons of hit points, so it kind of lets him stay and take the front lines a little bit more. Creeping out that location basically just so he can expand it, and that's actually the same location that he's going to try to expand it in the next game too, which we'll talk about when we get to it. So you notice that he picked up the Scroll of Healing, again, a crucial item to be getting in this matchup for both sides. You want to have that Scroll of Healing. Take a look at the Soju. He's got a Scroll of Healing on his Demon Hunter and on his Beastmaster, and again, that's just to counter the effects of the Shockwave on his Druids of Talon. And for the Orc player, it's counteracting the effects of having all his units spirit linked, which is what he wants. It's a good thing to have all your units spirit linked when you're up against something that's so much focus fire. It kind of helps counteract the effect of those Druids of Talon doing so much damage with their focus firing individual units down. It'll spread it out a little bit more. Now, one thing that the Orc player wasn't able to do in this fight that he did in the last one was bring his peons along. His peons, especially when they're spirit linked, help when you're trying to spread out the damage a lot. So he gets into some pretty bad situation here. 3 raiders are in the back of the line, which aren't necessarily good. A very good position here. The Night Elf player has opted for Fairy Dragons, and this is going to, any dispels that are used by the Spirit Walkers or Shockwaves cast by a Tauren Chief, and this is going to allow those mana flare from those Fairy Dragons to do damage to him, which is a very bad thing. Now, you notice this positioning. It looks actually pretty good for the Orc player. He's got this looks good for the Night Elf player. He's got the Orc player surrounded basically in a big circle. I'm kind of making motions with my hands now in real life here. But he's got him surrounded with his Druids of Talon. So you think he's kind of in a bad position, having his units spread out, but it's an even worse position for the Orc player because he's not going to be able to use Shockwave as effectively. And see, look at that Shockwave. He hit maybe the bottom right-hand corner, but all those left-sided Druids of Talon completely negated the effect of that Shockwave here. So he'll have a pretty Gosu dual surround here. He does end up breaking it, and that was a really good Shockwave again. Being as the Night Elf player doesn't have any more Scrolls of Healing, he's going to be able to counter that anymore. But he has used pretty much all the mana on his Tauren Chieftain. Is in really bad shape here. Does get the surround off on that Tauren Chieftain. The Blade Master is about to get it. Just misses the surround there. But the focus ends up leaving that game because he had some bad positioning there. So that was a pretty even game up until the last fight. And so just gotten some, Focus just gotten some bad positioning there. So I wanted to go over a few more things. Let me just go ahead and make sure I countered everything I wanted to. We went over hero selection. I think I actually went over everything I wanted to in this audio commentary. So, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and close this part of the audio commentary. You'll see me again in just a second here. I'm going to restart the next one, get the replay file synced up. See, I told you it wouldn't be that long. All right, we are back. This is the second replay going to be loaded up here. Get it at the 2-minute mark at the 1x speed. It's on Turtle Rock again. Same thing as last one, except this time Focus is going to win. Some interesting facts about this replay. The APM for both players, Focus actually dropped his APM compared to the last game, so maybe he's doing some more smart clicking rather than spam clicking. His APM in this game was 391 on average, whereas Winners, the Night Elf player, is APM at 256 compared to Soju last game, which was at 318, so a little bit less APM there. I don't know if that contributes to the loss or not, but we'll definitely see after watching the replay here. So, guys, get it to the 2-minute mark, 1x speed. We'll get it on pause here in a short second here. This replay was actually played after the first one that we watched. The first one was from the NGL finals, and this one was from Star Wars Korean qualifiers. And this was game number 1 between these two players. So, this was played on, or the replay anyway, was submitted on 4/11/07. So, I assume the replay was about that time as well. So, I'm going to go ahead and get it unpaused here in 5 seconds, so hopefully you guys are there. If not, pause the audio commentary again and go ahead and sync up the replay. 2 minutes, 1x speed, fog of war off. Unpausing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, unpause. So it's going to be interesting to see is after fighting this exact same strategy on this exact same map relatively recently, how Focus is going to end up dealing with it and coming out with the win. So as I said last replay, this is actually one where he is going to come out victorious versus the exact same strategy. being it's the exact same strategy on the exact same map and the exact same spawn location, we are seeing Blade Master first from Focus, and we are seeing Winners going with that Demon Hunter first. He has indeed fast cut that early Turtle Camp, just like last match, using that Ancient of War. So this is really the cookie cutter way of doing things. If you're a Night Elf player, if you're an Orc player, you can watch these replays and figure out what the cookie cutter is for these pros. And obviously, it's a different level of play, but there's a reason it's successful. And even if you do a little bit of innovating and changing the replay or the style to fit your own, watch these players. Watch how they improve. If you can, watch the same replay, the same matchup, and the same players. Try to see what and think. How they're thinking in their minds. One thing's interesting. I used to be in chorus, and it's a little side fact. And when we're learning new music and learning how to sing the new songs and stuff, basically we would get a history lesson on each song and each the person who wrote it and the people who were famous for singing it and things like that. And we'd kind of figure out what was going on during that time frame to actually get a little bit more insight into the song itself, which would end up helping us out in the long run. To kind of get more emotion behind the music and things like that. But you can do that with Warcraft as well. If you can figure out, hey, this was, if you knew that Focus, after watching this replay, had just played against the strategy recently, you kind of know that he's got something going on, and he's got a little bit of, moves that he can pull or something like that. So we just saw a little bit of a confrontation happening there at the Goblin Merchant. The Blade Master ended up picking up the Dust of Appearance, whereas the Demon Hunter, who was sitting there with his Cloak of Shadows at nighttime, was able to pick up the Boots of Speed. So, as we talked about last game, Boots of Speed, a very nice item to have, as he wasn't able to pick it up from that Goblin Merchant shop until he gets it. I'm talking about Focus's Blade Master. He's going to be a little bit behind here. Now, something different that Focus didn't do the last game was actually creeping more rather than doing a lot of harassing. So, kind of changing up his strategy a little bit. He's opting for a more creep heavy, try to get some levels on his Blade Master. Rather than harassing and killing off these wisps. And as the last game, Winners is teching just like Soju was, and he has his peon or his wisps protected relatively good by these or relatively well by the Moonwells and the Altar of Elders. So again, something Night Elf players might want to take note of is protecting those these wisps if you can. He does have a few strata throughout the map for scouting purposes, and if I was to ever play Night Elf, I would probably do the same thing because I think scouting is such a core part of this match. And as a human player, again, I put these scout farms out, so I know some human players don't use scout farms, but I think it's absolutely crucial in a lot of matches that you put these scout farms out. And on Turtle Rock, it's even more crucial. It's fun to do it. So he picks up the Beastmaster from that tavern, and MON Focus did have his grunts around nearby, and I remember a replay a while back where I saw those grunts surrounding a specific location on the tavern. I think it's in the bottom left-hand corner of that tavern, kind of right where the sign is on the tavern, and he was able to surround the Beastmaster as it was picked up, and I think he got a kill out of it. I don't remember. Maybe the Beastmaster got out with a staff or something like that. I just saw staff usage on these archers. Now, something that Soju didn't use last game was a staff. So this is kind of a little bit, new thing for the Orc player to do. He does end up getting surrounded up on this Beastmaster, which is nice, but a Grunt does end up dying, and the Beastmaster is going to get away. Without a Scroll of Town Portal, it's kind of hard to have that on your to keep your units alive. So he passes off the Scroll of Town Portal from his Demon Hunter on his Beastmaster, and I just shoutcasted that whole fight. So, I need to think about something else to talk about, right, guys? Again, this is the same thing that Focus did last matchup. He wants to force that TP at this point in the game, right before he starts getting a lot of his Tier 2 units. This is going to allow him, he just finished Tier 2, he's going to force his opponent to play a little bit more defensively and not be able to rush him here at Tier 2 and cancel this Bestiary and Spirit Lodge. Something that Focus does, he did last game as well, was send this peon out for kind of a sacrificial peon. He did a little bit earlier. I don't think I think we might have missed it, but he sends his peon out right before he hits Tier 2, about 75% of the way to Tier 2, to scout his opponent, because the Night Elf is typically going to be teching either slightly faster or just as fast as the Orc player. So he wants to see if he's going to be up against dual lures,